Holy moly. Okay. Ireland have won in Italy, 22-17. That was quite tense, wasn't it? Last 15 minutes. It didn't look like it was going to end up that way, but it did in the end. As usual, guys, we'll start talking about the game itself after about four to 5 minutes. So if you're watching this on the replay, feel free to fast forward to about that point when we'll start talking about the game. Peter Marnie and Lamoureux embracing Marnie's last game, obviously, for Ireland. He got a wonderful reception before coming on and then when he came on as well. Good for him to be able to go out on a win. Let's have your player of the match in the comments. Let's see who you thought played well. He's to be there, the caretaker coach. He looked quite tense today as well at various times in that coaching box. Jack Crowley on screen now. Had a good game and open play, I thought, but his goal kicking was definitely off point today. Hit the like button, guys, if you don't mind, while you're here as well, because that'll help other people find us, and we'll get a nice gang of people together to chat this one through for the next half an hour or so before England play in Wales, which I'm incredibly nervous about, especially after last night. It's quite emotional, isn't it, seeing some of these warriors go off the pitch for the last time. Amani, Cian Healy there, didn't play today, obviously, but getting lots of hugs. And Conor Murray came on towards the end to steady what was a slightly nervous ship, I would say. Yeah, I think Peter will be happy to just get off and out of there and back to his lawn. I think doesn't really particularly enjoy all this attention, it doesn't seem. Anyway, cheers, guys. Well done to Ireland on the win. Well done to Italy on a very decent performance at times. They shot themselves in the foot quite a bit, I'd say, today. But they can be proud of a lot of what they did. Conor Murray now on screen there as well. His last game. So many caps between those three guys. Cheers, by the way. Let me know what you're drinking as well. I'm on the, what on earth is this? Apatinsko today. Haven't tried this one before. Let's have a go. Yeah, it's all right. It's okay. Peter looked a little bit emotional there, truth be told. Not surprising. Such a big, huge part of these guys' lives. It's enormous. So, yeah, it's good to see some emotion involved with that as well, for sure. We'll start talking about the game shortly, guys, in about another minute or so. There's a shock. Dan Sheehan got player of the match. It'd have been mean not to give it to somebody who scored a hat-trick, especially a front rower. Very interesting game, this one, though. It was had lots of ebbs and flows to it, which made it quite exciting. And of course, the bottom line is that Ireland win with a bonus point, which is for the neutrals or for anybody just interested in the championship as a whole, what everybody wanted, really, because it just puts the pressure on to the next game. England have now got to go and win with a bonus point to overtake Ireland, and then it'll all be down to France after that. But Ireland have done their job just in the end. They had periods of great dominance, but only won by a score in the end. Okay, let's get into this one and go through it and see what we made of this. Just going to rearrange my screen a little bit so I can see everything. There we go. Keep your comments coming in as well, guys. Let me know what you thought. Any incidents you want me to discuss. There were quite a few discussable things, to be fair. Okay, let's get into it. This game started off, and it was kind of unremarkable, I would say, for the first 10 minutes or so. There was a lot of play in the middle third. Neither team could really get any. I don't think either team got any 22 entries in the entire first 10 minutes. So a lot of a few phases, then kick, a few phases, then kick. But they were trying to break each other down, but were definitely going to the kicking game as soon as they realised they weren't making any ground. Brex was prominent during this opening period. He seemed to get his hands on the ball all the time, and he was prominent throughout. To be honest, I thought he had another very strong game. Nacho Brex. There was a lovely moment after 10 minutes when Fischetti intercepted a pass from Jemison Gibson Park. And it was a great kick. Look, he's a loose head prop, and it was a great kick. It just took a leg break left. Otherwise, I'm sure it would have been a 50-22. It deserved a 50-22. Fischetti, I think, has had a quality tournament for the Italians. I think he's been outstanding in every game. The Italian scrum has gone well in every single game, and he has been prominent in the loose and absolute gnaws at the breakdown and tackles like a truck. Fischetti is up there as one of the best loose heads in this competition, if not the best, I think. And Italy scored first. Monty Ioane try, and it came after a very floaty pass from Nacho Brex to Menoncello, and that allowed Hansen to sort of think, oh, I've got him. Menoncello waited for that ball to come down and then step back inside. Great sort of half break, offloaded to Garbisi, who chipped through, and it was a perfect bounce. It's one of those you can't ask for anymore. Straight into Ioane's belly for 7-0. And then Brex and Menoncello combined after that for... they do it so beautifully. Their running lines, the timing, Brex looking out the back and then passing it short. And Menoncello went through a gap. I think it was sort of Crowley's gap that maybe should have made the tackle. It probably should have been a try. I thought Menoncello should have passed it back to Brex after he'd made that break. And then I think they would have been in good shape. But he waited until he got tackled, then tried to offload. And everything went out of all the momentum went out of that move. At that moment, I think Italy might look back at that one and see that was a big chance to get 2 tries up. Another big story in the first half was just the Italians going down, like injured constantly, all the time. Dino Lam was the first one off after only 19 minutes. And then Ireland had a great sort of period of pressure just after that. The Italians defended a maul incredibly well. Like it looked like it was just going to spin round and Sheehan was going to score, but the Italians somehow managed to square it up and stop it as well. You don't see that very often at all. And obviously the game would go on and they didn't manage to be that successful with their maul defence in the rest of the game. But that first maul defence was unbelievable. Finley Beelum got over for a try. Nope, that one was ruled out for a double movement, which I think, 100% correct call. And the Italians, again, just constant and really, really impressive goal line defence. I mean, Ireland were just trying to batter. They were just trying to sort of man up and get over the line from short range. And that's tough to do against the Italians. I've talked about it all tournament. Their first up tackling, their first up defence. If you run straight at them, they will bang you back. And they continue to do that. However, Keenan did get the try after 24 minutes. Solid scrum from the Irish. The scrum was a really good battle all day. Very few times did either side get any ascendancy. So it was a great scrum battle. Crowley had Keenan just looping, just wrapping around him, basically. Spotted that the Italians were stacked a tiny bit wide in defence. Great line by Keenan, under the sticks for 7-7. And shortly after that, Monty Ioane. So international wingers, you've got to love chasing kicks. I think nowadays it's just part of the game. You've got to love it. And I couldn't imagine doing that for fun as a player myself. But the one thing that is fun when you get to do that is when the ball, it lands and you land there right at the same time. And Monty Ioane got a great kick chase hit on Mac Hansen shortly after that. And Hansen, I thought at the start of this game, just looked a bit off. He just didn't quite look at. Normally I look at him and I go, he's the sharpest player on the pitch. Like he's so accurate and creative and just fizzing around. And I just thought he looked 5-10% off, as did a few Irish players I thought early in this game. Cheers. James Lowe on the other wing was doing everything he could to get into this game, as he always does. He's an absolute nuisance, and if the ball's not coming to him, he'll go and find it. And he did an incredible intercept, offloaded it in the same moment, and James Ryan just dropped it cold. Like, it was such a good opportunity there for Ireland to attack an unstructured Italian defence. Brilliant play by Lowe, but Ryan dropped it. Lorenzo Canoni and Seb Negri both got injured in the same phase of play, both of them off, Lamoureux and Vincent on. So these are all good replacements. Most of them have been starting most of the tournament, but you don't want to build up that kind of, you just narrows your options later in the game to change things, and it means that you're sort of scrabbling around a little bit. So yeah, 3 subs in the Italian pack in the first half an hour. Pajarello made a really sharp break. He looked quick when he did that, but that led to a kick into the in-goal area. And I don't know, there was a lot in this game, wasn't there? A lot of kicks that ended up in the dead ball area, dotted down for a goal line dropout. I mean, it's a huge in-ball area there in Rome, so that's definitely a factor. But I don't remember seeing like 4 in an open half hour of a game before. Stupid offside penalty from Gary Ringrose. That was a really dumb one, actually. He was never onside and just played the ball as it popped out of a ruck. Tommy Allen banged that over for 10-7. That was a long penalty, that one. Great kick. Ireland got into some flows shortly after that. You know, the beautiful layered attacking rugby that Ireland can do. It was the first time we'd really seen it in this game. But again, it just led to an error. Doris bumping into Ty Byrne for an offside penalty. So it just seemed that Ireland were just off in this opening half. Everything they tried, there was plenty of endeavour. It wasn't like they were not putting in effort, but sometimes stuff just doesn't flow. If you're not really sharp in the head, then things just break down a little bit. And I think that was a really good example of it, because they just ran conflicting lines basically, and it led to a penalty to Italy. But then Italy, as I said right at the very start, they definitely contributed to their own downfall today. And it started in the 39th minute with the dumbest penalty and yellow card. This is Wilgriff John dumb from last week. Lamoureux on his knees in a ruck. Jefferson Gibson Park picks it up, and Lamoureux just could not help himself. I think it was just a reaction, just one of those things. And he knew it immediately. You could see from his reaction, he sort of did a little pray sign. It was given as a knock on originally, but then Luke Pearce was just like, something didn't feel right here. Let's have a look at it on the TMO. And that's a good use of the TMO, I think, in that situation. Obvious yellow card, obvious penalty. And honestly, that was the start of the change of the game, because Italy up to that point, I would say, had been just marginally the better side. And as I said, Ireland just were off it 5, maybe 10%. And that led, Ireland kicked to the corner, line out drive, catch and drive, Dan Sheehan, first try, 10-12 at half time. Crowley missed that conversion. And to be honest, that kick would have missed 2 sets of posts, not just the one. So that was definitely like oh God, you're miles off there. Like it's worrying for a goal kicker when they miss one by that amount, because then it's very difficult to readjust for the next one and get back into a groove when you've hooked it that's incredibly badly. Yeah, Ireland were just off in the first half. Italy defended absolutely like Titans, as we know they can, and they actually look quite well organised as well. They've been easier to break down in the wider channels, but Ireland didn't manage to do that. Italy played with a decent amount of fluidity as well, where they had the ball, some of their beautiful layered attacks. When they take the ball to the line, Brex, Garbisi, those two in particular, they go so deep into the line, sometimes into almost like a little hole of defenders before pulling it back out for other players to go around the outside. Neither team playing a lot in the middle third, but it just felt at half time, with Ireland getting the lead, it felt like Italy would be very disappointed with that. It felt like they really had, they edged the first half, I would say, in many ways. Let's have your questions in as well, guys. Any questions, any thoughts? What do you think? Who played well? Who was any sort of mentions for Omani, Murray, and Cian Healy? Love to hear from you. Okay, into the second half, and there was Ireland got going in the second half. let's be honest, they got into their phase play, they got into their flow. There was just a bit of more accuracy about everything that they did. Some of that phase play led to Hansen going gloriously through a hole. Another phase later, and unfortunately, Crowley tried to make the final pass to Sheehan, but it just went directly into touch. From the ensuing line out and ruck after that, Van der Fleer got stuck into that ruck. He's such a nose at the ruck, and when he gets in there, he does such a good job of not just restructing it, but turning it into an absolute turnover as well. Somehow, James Ryan didn't score, and this is a really interesting one. The ball's never grounded, so it's never going to be a try. And the TMO was definitely trying to urge Luke Pearce, the referee, to consider Fischetti's actions, the Italian loosehead. And this is definitely going to split opinion, because the referee said, no, he's just sliding in there to try and hold the ball up, all that kind of stuff, just a collision. Whereas I personally thought that he sort of pushed the knee, almost like he lifted his knee into the ball, and therefore Ryan, and therefore stopping what would have been a probable try. I would have been happy, like, if he'd have given a yellow card and a penalty try for that, I would have thought that would have been fair enough. We have got a question here from Stephen Hughes. Gibson Park views on his first half performance. Well, I think for scrum halves, you always have to base their performance. You have to put it in context of the quality of the ball that they were getting. And Ireland just weren't producing huge quality or fast ball for him, and that's where he really shines. He takes quick ball and somehow makes it even quicker. But he kept trying, and he stuck at it, and got into the second half, and he definitely improved. But I think overall, like, we played well in the first half. I think it was the quality of the ball that he got given that made him maybe, look a little bit stop-start. Okay, onwards. Yes, so Ryan didn't score when it looked like it was harder not to score than to score. But Sheehan got over from a driving maul straight after that for 10-17. Immediately from the kickoff, Vincent flies into Hugo Keenan head first, yellow card, and offer a off-field assessment. And again, Italy just shooting themselves in the foot. They've conceded that try. The second time they got away with one, but conceded it. And then immediately they lose another player to the sin bin, just as Lamoureux was about to come on as well. So they're now playing 20 minutes minimum with 14 players. And you just can't do that against Ireland. You just can't do it. Menoncello was also having a fine game in the centre alongside Brex. I mean, you can just say that every single time Italy played. They are so consistent. He melted Caelan Doris in a tackle, blindsided him, and then ran over Ringrose in the next phase of play as well. He is an absolute bull of a centre, and quick, and hands. He's right up there with the best centres in the world. There's absolutely no question. 52 minutes, Peter O'Mahony stripped off, shown on the big screen, and he got a huge cheer. All the other lads on the bench sort of like chuckled a bit about it as well, because he looked a bit embarrassed and all that kind of stuff. So that was a lovely moment. Ireland got the bonus point try shortly afterwards as Jack Crowley passed to Hugo Keenan after a handsome break. But no, that was chalked out from a TMO as well. Doris knocked it on in midfield. And this was dealt with by the TMO, because Luke Pearce basically said, the screen's a long way away. The TMO is telling me it's a clear knock on, but it's so far away, we've not got a best place to judge from this one. I would say that from one angle, it looked like, I think it was Menoncello in there for Italy. From one angle, it definitely looked like Menoncello, and from the other angle, it looked dubious. Maybe the TMO had another third angle that we hadn't seen, but that looked, I don't know, it looked like a bit of a dodgy one for me. But if that was a knock on, then actually Lamoureux knocked it on directly before that in the tackle as well. So I think Ireland were a little bit harshly done by there. Vincent, yellow card, was upgraded to a red card shortly after that. And absolutely fair enough. This one was out of control, always high, no, literally no mitigation whatsoever. And yeah, just really, Italy really did shoot themselves in the foot. But Ireland did get that bonus point try, 59 minutes, and Gibson Park darted back down the blind side. Great sort of kick to the corner where Mac Hansen got up into the air, batted it back inside for Sheehan to get over in the corner in 22-10. Another missed conversion. And you just start to wonder at the start of the stage of the game. Ireland were completely on top, really. But it's only 12 points to the lead within 2 scores. And that nervousness just permeated. Like you can sort of sense it. Everybody sort of knows it. You're aware of it on the pitch. Stephen Varney got the try, and it was a bounce pass. This happens so often. If somebody fizzes a pass across the front of attackers, and then the attackers are like, I'm under pressure, I'm just going to let it go, and then it bounces, all the defenders just relax just half a pace. Capowazzo absolutely took off, screamed down the touchline, kicked ahead, the ball bounced back over Mac Hansen's head. I say over his head. The ball was probably there for him. I think he really should have dealt with that, and it was a bad miss for him. Varney scooped it up, 17-22 now with the conversion kicked, 20 minutes to go, and it's absolutely game on. The Italians were in lots of ways out of this. Lots of it by their own doing, but obviously the Irish with some good tries as well. And Ireland unlucky, I think, with a couple of decisions up to this point as well. Get to 10 minutes to go, and Italy are now back to 15, and it's really, really tense here for a period. And I start to feel all kinds of nervous that Ireland, because I want the championship to go to the build tension throughout the day. So I did want Ireland to win this. Lowe went tiptoeing down the touchline, and for all money, it looked like he must have been out. Threw the ball back inside for Keenan, who scored. This one was checked by the TMO as well, and they said there was no clear evidence that to overrule that he was in touch. My only question here was that they seemed to come to that decision really, really quickly. And I thought there was definitely, from the angles we saw, it looked like there was definitely a potential that he managed to stay on the field. And I think James Lowe, having seen the replay, definitely thought that he stayed in the field. He and the assistant referee on that side had a good old giggle about it shortly afterwards, though. But if that had cost Ireland, and this was another reason why I was feeling a bit nervous about it, because that would be a huge talking point if Italy had come back to win. Yeah, they just seem to come to a decision very quickly there, in my opinion. The game didn't peter out. It was nervous. It was quite nervous for the last 6 minutes. Capowazzo nearly created something for Menoncello down the far side. But in some ways, I'm glad that he didn't, because they would have come back, because Nicotera basically clouted, I think it was Peter Amani, in the ruck. It's a really cheap shot of a ruck clearance, basically. The ball was secure at the back. He was just hitting somebody. And it was kind of a sort of tucked arm to the head. That was potentially a straight red as well, but it's easy for the officials to give a yellow card in the last minute. So Italy win 22. What was it in the end? 22-17. So bonus point win. They're now at the top of the table. It's over to England to see if they can win in Cardiff and keep the pressure even more on the French. I'm nervous as hell, especially after the under-20s performance last night, where Wales were unbelievable. Their defensive effort in the first half, and then how sharp they were behind the forwards to take the opportunities that they created. Man, that was an impressive performance by those Welsh under-20 boys. Fully deserved of their win, and a raucous, unbelievable atmosphere there at the Arms Park in Cardiff. That is going to inspire. I'm sure that'll inspire both the senior Welsh players, and it'll inspire the crowd as well in Cardiff to be even more raucous. But that's to come. Kicking off in 10 minutes' time. So we'll go to that. Well done to Ireland. Obviously, they'll be very disappointed not to have been a Grand Slam game, but they came out and got the job done today in difficult circumstances. I think Italy can be proud of a lot of what they did today, but they'll definitely feel like they let themselves down and shot themselves in the foot at times as well. Okay, thank you very much, everybody, for watching. Really appreciate it. If you could click the thumbs up button before you go, I'd really appreciate that. I mean that people looking later on will be able to find it and see what we had to say. Give us a subscribe if you haven't already as well, because we're doing loads of these and it's a lot of fun. And yeah, enjoy the rest of your Saturday. hope these games, because quite often what happens as well, these games build and build and build, and they get better and better on these Super Saturdays. So that was a fine first game, a really good game, very much enjoyable. I saw a thumbs up come up on the screen there. Thank you, Hughes. Thank you, the Hughes, much appreciated. Yes, these games tend to get better and better and better, and I sense that's going to be the case today. Just the tension, the importance of each game just gets more and more as they go on, and let's hope it delivers. Enjoy the rest of your day, and we'll be doing a live after England Wales, where I hope that I've got a happy face on me, and we'll see. Okay, cheers, guys. See you later.